Om. 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 Sairam, everyone. So we are continuing with our Sandeha Nivarini study circle, where Swami is giving us step-by-step instructions as to what we should do. Very simple, practical steps. The past week, we looked at a few instructions from Swami, where I think what we discussed was to give up all bad habits immediately without any delay. And Swami had listed other things which we have to keep ourselves away from, like anger and such other qualities. So we will continue from where we left off. I think it's from point 31, if it's right.
Try as far as possible within your means to satisfy the needs of the poor, who are really Daridra Narayana, the Lord in the form of the poor. Share with them whatever food you have and make them happy, at least in that moment. 32. Whatever you feel should not be done to you by others, avoid doing such to others. 33. For faults and sins committed in ignorance, repent sincerely. Try not to repeat the faults and sins again. Pray to God to bless you with the strength and the courage needed to stick to the right path. 34. Do not allow anything to come near you, which will destroy your eagerness and enthusiasm for God. Want of eagerness will cause the decay of the strength of man.
Thank you very much, sister. I think there are 4 different things which Swami has touched. So we'll start with the first one, I guess, where Swami is talking about Dharitra Narayans, the people who are poor. In the Telugu Sandeha Nivarini, Swami says, the children of Dharitra Narayana who are poor. That's what he says. So he wants us to share food. Swami gives a lot of importance to giving food away to people who need food, which he thinks is, which he has told us is the most basic of things which we should do for everyone. And then I think the second point Swami is talking about us not doing to others what we don't want others to do to us. I think that's the best way we can practice some level of love, I guess, with others, that we don't want to do to others what others should not do to us. The third one is if we have done something wrong, I think always Swami says the first time you do something wrong, it's okay. You learn at least. But if we start repeating it, we don't repent for that, then that's a problem. And so Swami is again re-emphasizing that. And as I think one of the points which we discussed last time was, when the vasanas are so strong that we are unable to do what we would like to do. And Swami again says, pray to God to bless you with the strength and courage needed to stick to the right path. I think the question which we more or less discussed, I think, is answered by Swami here. Then he doesn't want anything in this world to come between us and God. Our enthusiasm, our eagerness to reach God should not be disturbed by anything. Because Swami always has said the yearning, the eagerness is the most important thing which we have to cultivate. Without that, spirituality cannot be pursued. So with those thoughts, I think I'll stop here and ask anyone and everyone here to share your thoughts, please. Saira.
Ram. So let me start. Let me start with that. Everybody's keeping silence. So let me start with this. Again, I want to re-emphasize this 30. From this moment, avoid all bad habits. Swami is insisting to we should avoid bad habits. Is this bad habit? Last time we were discussing also the vasanas. I have another question on this one. Is that sort of a nature, like a rajasic nature, or the tamasic nature? Because sattva gunas, those individuals, I don't think they do some of these kind of things. Though, so is that sort of a nature that when we are born, we are coming with those kind of a nature, like a rajasic nature, and then we want to we are inclined to do sort of things, or how is that going to help us? Please help me. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother. Anyone who would like to comment on what brother has spoken, or any of the points which we have in front of us, which we read just now? Sorry, brother, because no one else is talking, so yeah, I will just talk. Yeah, you are right. You know, we are all born with all the gunas are present in us, as Swami always says. All the gunas are present, but some of the gunas, with the tamasic or rajasic, those qualities sometimes take on a prominent role in our actions, and I think that's where our discrimination comes into play. Because we have some level of discrimination, and we can apply it and try to make the sattva guna, or the good qualities, take an upper hand. And sometimes it's a struggle, and then I think that's why Swami in point 33 says, pray to God to give you the strength and courage. Because sometimes it's the strength, strengthening the sattva guna, or the good qualities in us. And I think for that we need God's grace, so at least we should pray to God. And I think that's why Swami, the last point, he says, don't let anything come between you and God, because He's ultimately the last resort for all of us. And so he said, I think that's what I understand. And I maybe no one is speaking, so maybe I'll talk about the point number 32. Whatever you feel should not be done to you by others, avoid doing such to others. Yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw an interview of Swami on the YouTube sometime in 1978 for some Western devotees Swami has given. In that he's saying, somebody's asking this question, Swami, you say you love all. How can we love people who are harming us, hurting us? Then Swami says, see, look here. Love means, just not telling I love you or talking sweetly. He says, if you don't do any harm or you don't hurt them, you are loving. That's good enough, Swami says. And I think that's what Swami says. Love, help ever, hurt never. Is I think. I think so. Same thing Swami is saying. Point number 31 is help ever. 32 is hurt never. Saira. Any thoughts, please, from anyone? If there's.
Can I just ask a quick question about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Auntie.
Okay, go ahead.
My question is about the 34, number 34. Swami says, do not allow anything to come near you which will destroy your eagerness and enthusiasm. Swami also says, always be helpful and hurt never. So I think we also have discussed a little bit about this point, if someone has done something harm to us, or they are going to do some harmful act to us, if we know, but that person approaches us, but at that time, can we act like this, do not allow anything to come near you. That means that avoid speak to that person, or even if they say something, without replying anything, to go away, that sort of things. In a practical point, it's very difficult, when I look at both ways, always be loving and and helpful, and avoid hurting to others. And also Swami says, do not allow anything to come near you. When we apply these 2 points at the same time in a practical manner, it's little harder, to apply both of these points at the same time. That is my humble opinion. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, sister.
So Sairam, brother. So do not allow anything to come near you. So we offering to God, even flower, even offering food and anything. That all whatever we offering, God gave to us. God wants something that He didn't give to us. That's what God is expecting from us. So the God is expecting from us not whatever the material things or whatever He gave to us. He wants the bad 6 quality offer. That's what God wants it. But at the same time, even Baba said 2 things. Whoever harmed to you, 2 things you have to forget, 2 things you have to remember. Whoever harmed to you, forget that one. Whatever you help, you forget that one. That whatever 2 things you have to remember, if you hurt somebody, don't forget that one. And another one opposite to that one. These are the things, my opinion. Thank you, Brother Sairam.
Sairam. Anyone else would like to say something, please?
Sairam.
Sairam, brother.
Sairam, that brother Dasan was saying that whatever we do somebody, that good things, you forget that one too. You can take in your heart. And also that I had to say something about, sometimes we help somebody that help somebody, or we are doing something with somebody that they are trying to cheat us or give some hard time to us, no? At the same time, we can measure it with that everybody, no? So somebody will come and ask you help. First, you analyze that person is right or wrong, or if you know that. If you can help, please help them. If you don't help, your mind says that you don't want to help them, don't help them. But don't go and say other people that don't help these people. No, that's not our way to do that. That we don't know about other person, no, who he's a good person or bad person. That if we can help them. Otherwise, please don't say anything about them and don't run that. And if somebody come and help, ask you help, please help them. Otherwise, don't talk anybody bad about the other people, because we don't know about other people. Only God knows the people, heart and everything. Please do that. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother Sairam. Anyone else would like to say anything, please?
Sairam. Sairam. On this point number 34, on the second sentence, is want of eagerness will cause the decay of the strength of the man. this is exactly what happened. I remember Dasan was mentioning a few weeks back, like in the Kurukshetra battlefield, Arjuna was asking Lord Krishna to take the chariot into the middle of that battlefield. And then that sort of an eagerness, who are the best people up there who could challenge me, that sort of an attitude he had. And that sort of an attitude can ruin the person. That can cause a decay, can decay the strength of the person. That's what I read it in the Bhagavad Gita. And also this practically, in practical aspect also, even someone, when we are going for an exam sort of things, we are in such a mood like, oh, what is that sort of an eagerness. When we go and see this examination paper, we are kind of lost there. So that decay the person. So we have to be very watchful that the eagerness, what kind of an eagerness. But I cannot understand this part is, we want to show eagerness and the enthusiasm towards God. But on the other side, Swami is saying, want of eagerness will cause decay the strength of the man. How these two things is coming into play, and how this can be two different aspects. If one is, both of them are eagerness, but how these both of them can come into two different aspects in life. Thank you, Saira.
Simon, brother, I think the second part is want of eagerness means lack of eagerness. The eagerness is lacking. If the eagerness is lacking, that decays the strength of man, is what Swami says. One is the having eagerness, the other one is not having eagerness. That's my understanding. I hope, I don't know whether that answers your question. Sister Kalyani, I think you have been trying to ask something.
So just along the same lines of point number 34, do not allow anything to come near you. And I guess, I don't think Swami means something physically near you, but like more mentally. And when I think about, for myself, the things that kind of destroy my eagerness and enthusiasm for God, I think the most powerful thing is my own mind. And, the mind, seeing something or wanting something in the external world. And that's usually what kind of takes away that eagerness for God. So the mind is already something that's, physically and, mentally so near us. So how do we, I guess, not allow it to come close to us or affect us, I guess.
Sairam, sister. Sairam, anyone would like to comment on either any of these questions or the points which we have just read? Please go ahead.
Hi, Ram. This is Shivani. I don't know if it's related, but I will relate my situation. It was 3 years ago, I went to a wedding, a relative's wedding, and it was really at very high level. I mean, too much glitter, too much, fancy things happen. And when I came back from that, it disturbed my mind. I was like, you know what, I have to do this. My girls are going to grow up. I was starting getting worried and attached to materialistic things. For 2 weeks, it disturbs me. It really disturbed me 2 or 3 weeks. And one thing I have, and which helped me, I somehow happened to talk to Brother Arun. I'm really perturbed. I'm disturbed. It's not me. And I'm feeling far away from Bhagawan. This is not his teaching. If he's the doer, he's everything, then why this going to the wedding, which is really it was really good, but it really disturbed me that I got attached to the little, and I'm not going to say, but it really disturbed my peace and my mind. And one thing he has said, which really helped me, to pray, that I'm big disturbed. Of course, concentrating on his form, his name helped me. And then he gave me suggestion that whenever you go to anywhere, be a child, like a mother, you know, when you go in a big functions or any festivals, mother usually holds a hand of a little child, so mother don't lose the child. So whenever you go, just think, ask Bhagawan to hold your hand. When you are going, enjoy life. Bhagawan has given us this world to enjoy. Don't be sannyasi, go in the world, but hold his hand wherever you go so that he doesn't loses you. So you will be always, you are in the world, but yet you are not in the world. And when you come out of it, you are still holding your mother's hand. And that really helped me.
Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you very much.
Sai Ram, sister. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
So, Sairam brother, the 31, the food we are giving to the poor, and one more thing I have to add on to that one. So when we eating the food, that we have to think about the process. So when you doing the cultivations, we kill so many insects and worms and those kind of things. When you bring the food, you are pounding, grinding, washing pots, sweeping and cleaning, lifting, all kind of things. So during the process time, you are creating sins. So that's what the Shastra says. You have to offer the food to Japna, offering to Brahman, that's what you're offering to God, offering to ancestors, offering to God, offering to all the being, offering to the people also. In that way, we can get rid of our sin too. Thank you, brother. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram, brother. The same topic I am telling about 31. When we are giving food or some donation, people saying that in Canada everybody has the same level of food and they have enough food for them. You don't have to give them, but we have to give the food for needless, like living in the streets. Now the people living in the street, they don't have food, and when we are giving the food, we are giving good manner, and we are chanting the Sai Gayatri or Gayatri mantra when you are preparing food. The mantra is that good things go into the food, and also that we are giving the food in good manner to these people. The food make them in their heart and their mind also changes, and they become good people. That's why we are giving that. Swami encourage the people to give food or donation to that needly. So this is why we are giving the food to people on the street or whatever that needly is. One time somebody went to ask Swami, we have enough food in Canada. Do we have to give the food to the people? Swami said, give double, not one time double, because we are giving the food with a good manner and good thinking. That's why Swami said, give the food to the needy. Thank you, sir.
Sai Ram, brother. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, yes.
I want to add a sentence there, that number 31. Swami emphasizing one word there. It's whatever the food you have. So not the one you have excess when you are only time you serve, when you have the food lot more than that you needed. No, here the word Swami has used whatever you have. That means sharing, loving, all kind of things you have to follow to give this food. So that is the point we have to catch on this, I think, mostly. And we have to serve every time when we are getting an opportunity. We have to think we are serving Swami at that point of time. Our attitude supposed to be, we're not like we are serving. We have given an opportunity to give that service. That's the way that mentality should be there. That is for the 31. And for the Sister Anandi's thing, how we cannot run away from a person when we think it's not good to do, is kind of hurt them, kind of. That we have to have the discrimination. Swami always says that, right? So we have to think how to avoid and how to make it on the positive side and leave that place. That's how I will look at it. Sister Anandi's thing. That's all, brother. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Sai Ram, in Western countries, we always think that we have enough food and all the sufficiency. But amount of food that is wasted is very sad in our homes and in the parties and everywhere. We also have to follow Swami's teachings not to waste food, time, and money and all. Too. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother. So I think, I guess, I hope all the questions people posed have been addressed in some way or other. I think all of you have brought up good points, so that it becomes more useful for us to, I guess, practice what Swami has told here. So very, very simple ones. And I think sometimes we don't realize the value of those small things. I will just comment on, I think, Sister Kalyani's question about 34. Do not allow anything to come in. Usually the things don't actually come near us. It is only through some influence of people that it comes to us. If things are not associated with people, they don't necessarily distract us. So I think, as Swami has already talked about, satsangam, good company is, I think, is essential. And only through people and their influences, their thoughts, that some things we get distracted. Or even just borrowing others' thoughts and ideas, I guess. Those are some thoughts from my, but otherwise I think all the other points were amply discussed. I think about the food, actually Swami, if you read it, Swami says, make them happy at that moment. The reality in this world is sometimes there could be a rich person, they may have the stock of everything in their house, but they may not know how to cook and eat even. So the thing is, at that time they may be hungry. So when a person is hungry, whether they have money in their pocket or not, there's no harm in giving some food, I guess, because that will give them some joy. And we don't have to lavish, a feast on them, but we can at least give them something. Those are some thoughts of mine. We can move on, Sister Kalyani, to the next set of question and answers, or the points.
Sairam, I want to mention one thing, like point 32. Whatever you feel should not be done to you by others, avoid doing such to others. We should be also doing the opposite also. Whatever you expect from others, do it to them. That's also a true part. Like, because this one we don't want somebody else to do us, but in the meantime, whatever you like someone else to do, you should do it to the other people. That's also a point we should take into consideration. Thank you, Sairam.
We can move on to the next set of questions.
Sairam, brother.
Yes.
Is it possible for us to read one or two question at one time, or three? Because everything is mixing up, kind of. Okay. This is my suggestion only. Thank you, Sairam.
Okay, so Sister Kalyani, only read number 35 and then we'll discuss, and then we'll go on to the next one.
35. Yield not to cowardice. Do not give up ananda.
So Swami is telling in this not to become afraid, of something, or lack of I would say strength, or not even strength actually, lack of fearlessness. And then Swami says, then don't give up ananda. Don't give up joy. So I think that's an instruction from Swami. So I think I will stop here. If anyone has anything to say, please go ahead.
I want to ask something here, like the covered means, say in the battlefield, someone is running, someone is chasing, the other person is running. Is that the person we call them covered?
So Swami uses the word adairya. Okay, so dairya means courage, lack of courage. Running away, yes, I guess, brother, it's lack of courage.
That makes sense. Okay, so then my question is, so why Swami is bringing this opposite? The covered is then the opposite should be courage or something like that. But Swami is bringing up Ananda. How they are relatable? Kindly tell me. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, anyone would like to comment, please?
Sorry, Ram. I don't know. It's just my limited knowledge, and it's just relating to myself. To cowardness is I'm relating to my personality. Is like, don't be a bystander. When you see wrong things, really you don't need to jump, because if you're not in that position of saving somebody. But at the same, for example, I'll just talk about myself. It's when I see anything wrong in my view, it could be right somewhere else in somebody else's view. It's wrong in terms of somebody's hurting. When you're in get together family, somebody has that personality of pulling somebody else. And if I have a when I see somebody is in a very odd situation, I jump into, not to save, just to be humbly pinpointing that it's going beyond, to the extent where we are hurting other people. And many times my husband has, put me, kind of nudge me, hey, you don't need to every time say something. But at the same time, if I don't say, when I come home, it disturbs me that I was a bystander. I could see somebody hurting somebody else. I didn't say anything. It disturbs me. So initially, the way I used to talk, it was very arrogant way. Over a period of time, I have, I believe, mellowed down a little bit, that I'm not there to save the world. I'm just trying to pinpoint that, what, this is not right. And then if the person continues, that their karma. But at least I am not a bystander. I just didn't see the wrong thing and look at it and didn't say anything, because I know when I come back, it will disturb me. I don't know. Does it make sense?
Sairam, sister, thank you.
Sairam, brother, I just want to add to Sister Shivani's thing. When you have to be courage enough to say sometimes things that you feel right, in order for you to feel happy. Otherwise, it will make you sad, because you didn't do the right thing at the right point of time to say things. Because if you are not courage enough to say that, then that gives you the sadness. So that's maybe the reason Swami relating one sentence, both of them, maybe. I don't know I'm right or not, but I think that's what Swami trying to tell us. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister.
But I know, sorry. Just to add, but I know over a period of time, by practicing humility, the way we say, as Swami said, it's the way you come across. It has given me confidence when I'm pinpointing or correcting myself or anybody. But I'm confident whenever I say. Initially, I used to say, come home and get disturbed and then meditate. But now I am thinking and I'm saying it, and I'm with full confidence, with full conviction, because I know it's not coming from ego. I know when I'm saying something, it's just to kind of mitigate that situation.
Thank you very much, sister. Yes, brother, you might be said. Brother Vivalesan, you can speak up.
Sairam, I think for the question Arul asked, the connection between Kavadais and Ananda, I think the connection is here Kavadais, by Kavadai Swami means not being courage to practice to do the sadhana. For example, Swami has said, don't be ashamed to chant the name of God or sing the name of God. Do Nagar Sankirtan. When do Nagar Sankirtan, don't be ashamed what people will think, that kind of thing. So, but if you don't have that courage, then you will lose Ananda also. Ananda of singing the name of God and experience that bliss. I think that is the connection. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I like that. Thank you.
Anyone else has something to say? Maybe I'll just, we're listening to you all, something came to my mind, so I thought I would share. See, the thing is, usually we think courage means standing up to people, or, doing something daredevil thing, And this is what we normally associate courage with. But because usually we think the cause of some harm is external to us. But I think whatever you have said is valid too. There are different situations and we have to react differently. But I also think when some bad thing has turned out in our own lives, someone has lost a limb, and someone has lost a job, someone has fallen ill with some disease. Those are times when we lose all enthusiasm. We lose all the courage even to live. We think everything seems so dark and we just give up. But courage is at that point in time even when there's no hope of any kind of any change, to face that situation in our life with, say, I will deal with this with total courage. And now no one is there to be blamed. But this is the situation which I have to face. So if I say I am going to face this situation as courageously as possible, I'm not going to fall flat, I'm not going to give up, but I'm going to face this to the best of my ability, and I'm sure I will succeed in dealing with this in the best way possible. That is the type of courage which we have to seek within, draw from within, or draw from God. And we will face that situation. And that kind of attitude will give us a lot of joy. Because usually we will say, oh, this situation has come up, this bad luck has befallen me, and we may lose heart. And we will not even make any attempts. Or we will call everyone around us to come and help us. That is lack of courage, because we are unable to face it ourselves. Being able to face the situation ourselves with some help from definitely God, saying that He is there, so I am going to face this, and that will give us so much ananda. The ananda cannot be robbed from us, and that is one type of courage and one type of ananda to gain. Is what I thought I would share. Saira.
Oh, thank you, Brother Arno. That's a very good explanation. I love that. And I also want to add another point. I was listening to one of those satsang yesterday. And one of those professors up there, he lost his wife first. And he lost his 2 daughters. And then after that, he lost his job also. And he was struggling all this in the process. Swami came in his dream and he was saying 3 words. That's goldsmith, goldsmith, goldsmith. Those are the words that he uttered in the dream. Then the professor was just trying to understand why Swami is saying goldsmith. So he was walking towards one of those areas, and then he found a goldsmith, and he asked the goldsmith. He found somebody, and then he asked him, "Tell me something." He didn't know. The goldsmith was wondering what is his professor is asking him. He didn't know. Then he's telling him the process of how to bring out the 24 karat gold. So that sort of a thing, like like this is a process that we are going through, and we have to, as you mentioned, we have to bring out the ananda by challenging us with the internal help of this divine, that we have to bring our energy and challenge all the situations and be courageous at any time. That gives us ananda. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Brother, I don't know how to build that courage. I know we have to get within. How, I don't know, how to build that courage. Not everybody might be courageous. Not everybody is that thoughtful. How one should build that courage.
Just to add to that question, I was thinking the same thing, because in those moments when you feel dark or things are bad, that's when you most feel like not praying or not thinking about God. So how do you how do you build that courage, as Sister asked?
Sister Shivani already gave the answer actually earlier on. See, for a child, if you think we are a child, how does a child derives courage at all? By holding onto the mother's hand. The child actually is the most vulnerable, thing in this world, but they rely on somebody, and that is the only thing which can give them courage. Because for a child, everything is daunting, everything looks big, everything seems to attack, but the child has the total confidence in the parent. If we think Swami knows everything, if we think Swami is with us, if we think Swami is all powerful, why would we fall into that situation? Only when we forget that we are not holding on to the mother's hand, the mother is not with us, or the father is not with us, we will feel dark. That's what a child experiences. So the thing is, if we can always hold on to the Lord, we'll be courageous. Without holding on to the Lord, no one in this world can be courageous. That's my view, but I will open it up for anyone else to comment as well.
Yes, to add to that.
That's very nice.
Fear has to be overcome by faith.
Brother, I will just, I think Swami already said, more than, if his faith is a slightly loose term, but Swami will say have the conviction. Conviction is something, it's not only mental, it is just, it encompasses every aspect of our existence, I think. Sahiram.
So, Sairam, brother, so a few things to add. When the Atma came to this body, it came with the karma. So that God put the karma, that mala to that Atma. You have to understand, you have to go through that one. You cannot avoid that one, whatever is going to come in front of you. So you have to face it. At the same time, you have to, in the spiritual side, if you understand Ananda, this is very difficult to walk on that path. A lot of tests and everything. That's what Swami said. Walking on the spiritual path is like a walking on the top of the edge of the blade. So you cannot do wrong and you cannot go and pray. So you have to understand what is karma. You have to go through that one. Then there's according to the merit of our accounts, you have to deal with that one. You have to, whatever everyone said, the goal. When you get more problems, you are going closer to the God. You have to understand that one. Atma is showing that path to get into the liberation. Thank you, brother. Sai Ram.
Sairam.
Sairam, if you have, as you said, brother, if you have 100% faith on God, nothing comes near to you. Always you have nothing to worry about that karma or anything. It will go like the sun in front of sun. There's no. That's why my feeling. If you have 100% faith on Swami, you will face everything. Thank you, Sairam.
I listened to discussion on this point, but I want to mention just a little experience I have had in one of the funeral home. I went for the funeral recently, and the person was telling me it's an ardent devotee of Swami, but in that particular very sad and terrible moment, that person told me that Swami, the God has been little unfair to me. Even we have had a lot of faith in Swami. Even though we all are the conviction or faith in Swami, sometimes as a human when something happened to us, we wouldn't take it as good thing or it's a blessing. We wouldn't feel that ananda in our mind. We would be really sad in some moments. I know as a human, sometimes we wouldn't feel that sort of ananda. Swami has told us, but it's very, very difficult in that particular moment to feel it as ananda, because we all discussed, we have to have, the conviction or faith in Swami, then everything, we wouldn't feel that sort of the sadness or maybe the stress or whatever the bad side, we wouldn't feel that, but sometimes we feel that, and that wouldn't make us to feel as ananda. And just my humble point, sometimes these things also it will happen, and we have to take it as not all the time it will give us ananda. Sometimes it would give us a very, very sad moment too. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, sister. Anyone else would like to say something? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next point. Sister Kalyani, we could go on to the next one.
36. Do not get swelled up when people praise you. Do not feel dejected when people blame you.
So I don't think I need to add anything here. I will open it up for anyone to share your thoughts, please.
So point number, someone else want to go? Maybe, I don't know whether that is Brother Surya Kumar or...
Go ahead, sister, go ahead.
The number 36, it's really about the equanimity, a person, when someone prays, you wouldn't be, proud, or when someone, blames you, you shouldn't feel dejected. I have learned in Tamil too, when the துள்ளாமலும் துவளாமலும் இருக்கிற ஒரு நிலை தான் அந்த சமநிலை என்று நிறைய சுவாமிமாரெல்லாம் சொல்லி இருக்கணும். In this one, the really Swami, in one word, he has already told us in the equanimity, you have to balance in yourself. Normally, as a human, it's really little harder, unless otherwise, if you elevate yourself in the spiritual ladder, normally in the yogis or swamis, they have this sort of, the balancing, balancing in their mind, to everything take it as same, even good or bad, it would be same in their mind at all times, not in 1 point or 2 points, it should be all the time. When you get into the stage, you almost, it's like a yogi or Swami. Thank you, Saira.
Saira. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
Saram, when we are doing things on God's name, when we are doing service or anything we are doing, helping anything for us, we don't feel it that when they are praising or hating us. We do everything on the God's names. Then we don't mind. We are not taking that doership. We are not taking the doership. This belongs to God. So we are not feeling that bad or good there. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share thoughts, please? So I guess, I think everyone understands this. As Sister Anand said, it can be difficult. But as Brother Rajagopan said, once we think if we are able to do anything, it's because of God's grace. We will never feel proud when others praise us. And once we don't do that, we will never be dejected also. I think only when we get swelled up by others saying something, there's this chance of us feeling bad also. When we don't feel swelled up or bloated by pride, we will never have the opposite. But Swami wants us to practice it, I guess. Because these are things which we all face on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so we will go to the next point, Sister Kalyan.
37. If among your friends anyone hates another and starts a quarrel, do not attempt to inflame them more and make them hate each other more. Try, on the other hand, with love and sympathy, to restore their former friendship.
This again is something for us to practice, I guess. I think there was something similar, I think was discussed last week also, when someone is upset with somebody else because they have not done something good. Then how do we, calm them down in that kind of situation? So I think Swami has clearly told what we should do when, be the person who can calm the situation. I will stop here, and if anyone would like to add any thoughts, please go ahead. I guess no one has anything. I think it's similar to a situation, I think Sister Kalyani posed. Your spouse has had some problem at workplace, they're upset, and things like that. I think it's similar, not the same. But when there's a problem, we should not fan the flame, but we should put it out for the benefit of everyone, whether it's friend or enemies. I guess if the negative emotions are welling up in someone, sometimes in the name of sympathy, if we also fan those flames in us, sympathetic vibration, I guess. Swami says that is not good, but rather we should help them calm themselves and come to a normal state of being, so that there can be positive feelings. I think we face these on a day-to-day basis multiple times, maybe, very often in our lives.
Yeah. And brother, I just believe that as a human nature, we're always looking some kind of support from other people who believe what I did or what I feel from other people is a support, right? And my understanding is that when we are looking for that support, and I'm talking about myself, I don't know about others, when we are looking for that support, there is some kind of lack of confidence in you, because you're looking somebody else's approval that what you are doing is right or wrong, and that engage people in our conversation. And that's one. Just a little practice, which I believe at our home, what we do is, it's my husband's idea. When we talk or when we feel this way, we don't take person's name. So he said, if that person comes in front of us, at least I'm not biased, because what you feel about that person, it doesn't influence me. So we can talk about the situation, but not the person. And it happens once. My older daughter, she was talking about her friend, something, and the younger one was too young that way, 5 or 6 years old. And a friend came at the door, and right away she opened her mouth. My Titi was saying this about you. And I was like, oh my God, why did you say that? So since then, we said, okay, we are not going to take people's name because it affects our perception. We'll talk about a situation. We'll talk about how you feel about a situation, but not to take name and judge you or other person. It's just some little things I want to share.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Sairam, in this situation, that if somebody quarrel with me, like a friend, also, we always think that what he did good for me all the time, not think about the bad things all the time. That you forget the things bad he did. Always think he did good things to you. Then you don't have a bad hard feeling with the friend. You can tolerate with your friend. That's my opinion. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam. Anyone would like to share any thoughts, please? So there's a question on the chat box. So the Sitaram has asked, how do we see this number 37 about Rama taking the side of Sugriva against Vali? Sugriva and Vali were brothers, and they had enmity between themselves. And then Rama took the side of Sugriva. He didn't say, okay, let's go and patch it up. So how do we look at this? Is a question which Brother Sitaram is asking. So that is, sometimes we take sides. We may not even, we are not practicing this. So how can we reconcile Rama's action of not helping the brothers reconcile, but taking Vali's life out? So that's the question. So I will pause and ask members to comment, please.
Brother Sairam, is it possible for you to narrate the little bit of story around that, please?
For the Vali and Sugriva?
Yes, please. Just a little bit to the question, please. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister. So Rama was, after Sita was captured by Ravana, Rama was moving around in the forest looking for Sita, and they happened to come and meet actually Sugriva. I am trying to give a short version so that you don't unnecessarily have too many details. So when Rama approached Sugriva, Sugriva was hiding in a mountain away from his brother. So the Sugriva, both of them are considered Vanaras or monkeys. So the Sugriva was taking shelter in a mountain away from his brother because they had a falling out. So there's a story of how they started hating each other. They were very good brothers, friends, but during one situation where Vali was fighting a Rakshasa in a cave, he had told his brother, I will, this fellow is gone inside the cave, I'm going to fight him. Wait for 15 days, and if I don't come, you understand that I'm no more, and you go back. Don't come and fight the fellow. So what happened? Sugriva waited for 30 days. Instead of 15 days, he waited for 30 days. And he saw blood oozing out from the cave. He thought the brother had died. So he blocked that cave with a huge boulder, thinking that Rakshasa should not escape. And he came back to the place where they were living, and he took the position of his brother as the leader of the monkey clan. A few days later, the brother returned, and he was so livid with anger with his brother. He thought the brother wanted to, him to be stuck in the cave and die. And from then, the enmity started, and the brother took away everything, including his wife, from Sugriva and chased him away. And Sugriva took, so that was the plight of Sugriva. And so Rama, when he came, Sugriva told all this has happened, and Rama said, okay, I will help you. He didn't tell him, you go and let's patch up. He said, okay, I will, you go and fight with Vali, and I will kill Vali, the brother. And that's what happened. So I will stop there. And of course, Sugriva later on helped Rama go to the Lanka with his monkey hordes and so on. So here, two brothers who were friendly before have fallen out, but then how come Rama did not patch up? That's the question.
Sairam to all. Rama stood for the Dharma because he took the wife away. He misunderstood his brother, so his Vali had to be punished. That's why Rama took the Dharma into his hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Auntie. Sairam, anyone else would like to comment on that, please?
I mean, in a real world, in our world, if we apply that, my understanding is, have we developed that, our faculty, a power of discrimination to the extent that we can really see what is right, what is wrong? So are we at that level, or have I developed that I can really understand this is right, this is wrong? So once we are there, I guess, then your self-conscious or your superconscious allow you to make that judgment.
Saira, Dwarpa Yuga and that Kali Yuga and they're different, no? It is not come to that Kali Yuga is right to that situation, because Swami always saying that you must win the heart with love. So that's different from Dwarpa Yuga, and Treta Yuga is different. No, that time is the bad people has to be punished and killed. No, but in Kali Yuga, Swami is bring the people and good people like change their mind with love. Thank you, Sairam.
So, Sairam brother, in this situation, Vali and Sugrivan, And he explained everything what was happening and everything, and he doesn't want to believe that as a brother he's supposed to accept that one. And even though, okay, you can take the regime but not taking the wife, and you are that is very, very bad. Even Rama's situation, why he killed the Ravana, because Ravana was attachment, or Ravana's desire is wrong. That's the reason. So Rama's decision was, according to me, is correct.
So just to elaborate, brothers and sisters, I think we know that it's a matter of understanding the principles. Okay, Swami has said something here. I think the question is only to gain a full understanding of what needs to be done, how it should be done. I think that's the reason. I don't think anyone is questioning Rama's rightness or wrong. But what could be the reason? Again, Swami in the other, earlier on, Swami has said, if there are bad people, just run away from them. Don't even talk to them. Swami has said that also. And Swami is here saying, when there are two people fighting and one person hates the other, do not restore the form of friendship. Because I think there's no one single understanding which is right, but whatever understanding we have, we should be very, very clear. Otherwise, we will pick and choose different arguments in different situations. I think so. It may be good to anyway. I think a few people have shared their thoughts. It would be nice to hear from others as well.
Sai Ram, when I first heard Brother Sitaram's question, I don't know who is Vali or Sugriva, but as Sister Auntie Saku mentioned, I first thought Rama must have taken the side of Dharma. I always, every day when I pray to God, I ask God to bless me. I want to take the right path, a dharmic path. And also point 36, when people blame me, I always think that Swami, God is on my side, because I want to be following the dharmic path. I thought I should say my view. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
I just wanted to add, I guess, because this came up as like a point to support that Sugriva was more on the path of Dharma, that Vali took his wife. But I think after Vali's death, didn't Sugriva take Vali's wife as well?
Okay. So I think it's we should study Ramakatha Rasavahini properly, I guess, and some discourse of Swami. Actually, Vali, the wife which you are referring to is Tara. Actually, Tara was Sugriva's wife to start with, and Vali made her his wife, and so she came back to her original state. And that we are going to a completely different discussion. Yes, but that's true, because Tara was Sugriva's wife to start with. But going back to this question on, no one else is commenting, so I think I will say something which at least my understanding, not necessarily it's the only understanding. I think Swami uses the word hatred. Anger and hatred are two different qualities. Anger is a natural reaction for something negative. Hatred is we keeping that feeling in us, and the negative memory is growing and growing. That's the big problem. So actually, if you read this sentence again, Swami says, if anyone hates another, then Swami does not want them to hate each other more. So the hatred is the quality, it is a negative tendency that consumes us. If we think about someone so much that negativity grows and grows and grows, then it's a big problem. We should not have that. And so in the case of Sugriva and Vali, I think Rama dealt with it. I think the only way he could deal with it was to get rid of Vali. So that Sugriva, from that point, didn't have any negative feelings to harbor in him. So I think, as Auntie Shakku said, dharma, when it's not practiced somewhere, we should stand up, but that should not turn into hatred. Hatred is remembering somebody's doing bad in us and getting worked up about it again and again and again. Something like worry, So I think that's my understanding. So if we have to not keep any negative feelings in us, and if a friend of ours is having a negative feeling towards somebody else, which is growing and growing, and it is consuming them so much, then it has to be gotten rid of. Either through calming them, because what happens is in this case, Swami says there are two friends, they hate each other, and I think they still want to get back with each other. Then you have to patch them up. If there are situations, I think when people don't want to get back with each other, it's better they are separate. It's, I think, my understanding. So I will stop. I will leave at that. And if anyone has something to say, we can discuss.
Can I say a joke? Can I say a joke to Sister Kalyani when she said Bali had Sugriv's wife? That's what happened. That comes as a parts and parcel of winning something. You get everything.
I think one negative feeling takes another negative feeling. I think Sister Sivana, I think her question was, if Sugriva was so dharmic that Rama stood by him, didn't Sugriva take Vali's wife? I think that was the question from Sister Kalyani. So
my answer was, when he won everything, then he get everything.
Okay, so
Sairam, when we read and understanding the Puranas and everything, I think we shouldn't take the Rama's act was right or wrong like that. We learn from the Puranas and everything what is the right way. Then we shouldn't argue like this is right, this is wrong like that. We should live in the practical world what we are doing, that Rama always is a god, he did the right thing. That's what I believe always. We shouldn't go back and forth and disturb our mind. Instead of doing that, we have to practice even go to by Sai centers. Is someone hurting others and developing that bad quality and increasing what the way say two friends like that, we should harm them and point out. Brother Rajagopal said whatever they have the the good qualities from them, then we had to forget everything. We always has for us also good and bad, and we always think the good, forget the bad like that. But it's hard to practice. But if the person is harming everyone in the Sai center, like not following the thing, speaking softly and hurting other people, that time we should stand like we should let them know you shouldn't do that, because the person is disturbing all of the people's mind. Then that is not good for the society, and it's like become a kutu karma, like the total karma like that, not individual karma in the centers. Then we should stand and let them know this. We have to follow Swami's teaching that whatever you do, this is doesn't say Swami. Sometimes people say Swami is saying and doing that. But Swami doesn't say the wrong way. Swami always say the truth and the thing, Satya and everything to follow. But sometimes they say, this is Swami saying, but not. Swami always say the right thing. That's what the Brahmanas and everything teach us. The Sagavandi says the Dharma and everything. Always they teach us the good way. We shouldn't argue and go and like talk to like that. That's what my understanding. We have to teach the children, the younger generation, always the good things. Sairam.
So there's, I think, Sister Ambika, I think you may have misunderstood what was being done. So Brother Sitaram has clarified. Sairam, for clarification to all, there's no question on Rama's decision. It is about our understanding about it is what I am looking for learning. Thank you very much. So Sister, I think what...
Sairam, that's what I mentioned. Maybe the conversation with, explaining the ways, the same way you are thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, Sairam.
Okay, so that's understood. Because the thing is, sometimes it's all about understanding the concepts properly. Because see, this is what happened to the Bhishma and Karna. They stood with Duryodhana saying, we have to see the good in Duryodhana, and they stayed. And they were trying to overlook the harm which Duryodhana was doing. So sometimes we all pick and choose for our own convenience. And so I think that is because if you have a good understanding of the concept, and of course, different people can have different understanding also. I think that's also okay. Each person will come to a different decision. That's fine. That is between God and them, I guess. But I think individually, we have to see what we can do and then move on. And sometimes we have to stand, make a decision. But as Swami has said, let us not have that negative feeling in us. Or let us not let that negative feeling in other people around us also. Sometimes it's better to avoid the situation. I think that's why Swami said, if there's a bad thing happening, move away from that place. Don't cut off all relations. That is something which Swami has said. Because when you say cut off all relations, even mentally we should not think about them. Because if that's what helps us spiritually progress, and that's what we should do. But let us not be there and hate them, fight with them, quarrel. That's what Swami says. Let them not quarrel. That does not help. Quarrel means again and again fighting. So I think that's we can and each of us can go back. I'm sure each of us will take the lessons as it applies to each of us, and I hope Swami guides us all. It's 10:19. I think we have one more. We'll just read it, or otherwise we will close and we'll come back to it next week. Because once we start, I think we will not complete it. I think we have enough to think and contemplate for the next week. So if I will just pause, if anyone has anything to say in conclusion of whatever you are thinking for among 3 points which we have already discussed, and then we can close the session.
Sairam, I have a little, maybe the Swami said among your friends, that is also important. And Swami also says, anyone hates another. I thought I was wondering myself, why Swami put the word hates rather than is angry. Maybe, in my mind, I thought if you really love a person, then only you would be angry with them when that person says something to you. If a person walking on the street, if they throw some comments on you, you wouldn't worry about much. But if someone, they really good friend of you, if they say something, sometimes you will be, you will be angry with them, because I thought sometimes love and angry is a different, it's the same thing. If you have the love, then only you would feel angry with that person. If you don't have love, then you don't feel angry that much to that person. Even at home, in your friendship, I always think, if I really love a person, then only, sometimes, siblings, we always love each other, but we will fight more. And that's why Swami said, among your friends, it could be among your siblings or among your someone, in fundamental, you really love them. That's why Swami said, do not attempt to inflame them more and more, more and more, to make them, go, apart from each other. So I thought, in my mind, Swami underlined among your friends. That means that, if you have previously friends, that means that your wavelength and everything is the same. You really like each other. That's why Swami has put this sort of a comment. If someone else, then your decision, it could be different. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much. I think we all overlooked, and you rightly pointed out. So Swami is saying that among your friends, so you have a friend circle, and in that circle, if two people are fighting among themselves, that you have to somehow work it out. So I think it also shows that, if we run into a situation, we have a group of friends. Means when we say friends, means they are all together doing something positively, and suddenly something has happened, two people are not talking to each other, or fighting with each other. So that actually affects each of us to be surrounded by two friends who are fighting. So that's a very good point, because we love both of them, and then we try to bring about, so that the company in which we are, there's no negative feelings. I hope. Thank you very much, sister, for pointing it out.
Thank you. So
that also can go back to the previous one, Vali and Sugriva. Rama was not, it was not his circle of as such. So it's slightly different. So I think we'll pause here. It's 10:23. So we'll close the session with Samasta Loka and Chant. Saira. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Saira.